Today's LeetCode problem is merge sorted array. So we are just going to merge two sorted arrays. So you're given two integer arrays nums1 and nums2 sorted in non-decreasing order and two integers m and n respectively, so representing the number of elements in nums1 and nums2 respectively. So we see that nums1 contains 1 2 3 0 0 0 and which is m is equal to 3, and nums2 contains 2 5 6 n is equal to 3. So we're just going to merge these two arrays in an increasing order, like non-decreasing order. So the arrays we are merging are 1 2 3 and 2 5 6. So that will be 1 2 2 3 5 6. So 2 comes repeated twice, and the underlying elements are coming from nums1, and still they are arranged in increasing order. So this is how we are going to do. Suppose we have nums1, we have 0 element over here, and nums2 we have 1, and still we are going to get our merged array as 1, right? Because a 0 is not really considered, and we are merging only an empty array and 1. So the resultant of the merge will be 1. Not we have to note that it's because m is equal to 0. There are no elements, there are actually no elements in nums1. So the 0 is only there to ensure that the merge result can actually fit inside the nums1. So the result will be 1. So we have to make sure that our array nums1 array should always be, it should be greater than or equal to 0. So we can approach this by using a two-pointer technique. So how does this two-pointer technique work? We can just see that over here nums1 contains 1 2 3 0 0 0 and m is equal to 3. Nums2 will be 2 5 6 n is equal to 3. So we will just have three pointers. P1 P2 are the two pointers, and I will be another pointer which points to the end of the array. So initially, actually this one will be 0 initially. Now we are going to check for a condition. For example, if P2, right, the element that P2 is pointing to, if that one is greater than the element which P1 is pointing to, 6 is greater than 3. So if this is greater than this, then we will just push this 6 into, we will just write our 6, that is the nums2 of P, no, that is nums2 of P2, we will just push it into our nums1 of I, right, we will just write it inside our ith position. 6 will come here, so it will be 1 2 3 0 0 6. And next, for the next, we will just see again, we will increment our pointer basically after each iteration. Then we will decrease our I, and then our I will point here, and our P2 will pointing to 5. Next we're again going to check if 5 is actually um, 5 5 is greater than, I mean, yes, if 5 is greater than 3, then we see that 5 is actually greater than 3, then we will just push that also inside here. So 5 is also pushed. Then finally in the last one we have our P2 will also decrease from 5 to 2. Our pointer will be pointing to 2 now. Next our pointer P1 will just point to 3. So now we are going to check 2 is not greater than 3. Earlier cases 6 and 5 are greater than 3, but now 2 is less than 3. So supposing it is less than 3, that is nums1 3 is greater than 2. So if that is the case, then we will, what we are going to do is we will just keep nums1 of I, so the ith position, that one will be equal to nums1 of P1, right? So a 3 will go here, so we will just push our 3 over here. So that's what will happen, and our 2 will be pushed over here. So so implementing this in our code, we can just write first, um, we can just initialize our pointers. First, we'll just initialize the pointers p1 is equal to m minus 1. That will be our pointer. It will just point to m minus 1. Then p2 will be pointing to n minus 1 because m and n are given in our question. Then after that, we declared p1 and p2 and initialized them. And now I will be m plus n minus 1. After that, we'll go inside a while loop. A while loop says that a P2 should always be greater than or equal to 0. It should never be less than 0. That means there's nothing inside the second array. And if P1 is greater than or equal to 0, you have to check P1 should always be greater than 0. So that is like our edge case. And nums1, that is our first integer array, the pointer one, whatever is pointing in nums1, that is actually greater than the nums2 pointer. So that pointer will be p2. If it is greater, then we will have to swap it. So nums1, I mean we'll just have to write it basically, and this is only nums1 of p1. Yeah. So whatever is that P1 is pointing to, whatever is P1 is pointing to, let's just take this. Whatever is P1 is pointing. Oh, okay. Basically, we're doing this. Whatever P1 is pointing to, we will just keep it in nums1 of I. Yes. So here 3 is greater than 2, right? So 3 is greater than 2, so 3 will go into our ith position. So it will be 1, 2, 3, 3, 5, 6, and it keeps on going until the end. Next, um, so this one will be our condition. Next, our else condition, we have to take care of our else condition as well. So in the else condition, we are going to see else what we have to do. We just have to write the opposite of it. So nums1 will be nums2 of p2. So pointer 2. So if actually it is not greater, supposing 3 is not greater than 2. Supposing we are checking 3 and 5. So 3 is less than 5, right? So 5 is actually greater than 3. So in this case, what are we going to do? We will push our whatever is there, P2 is pointing to, we will push it inside our I. So that's what we're doing here. Nums2 of P2 will push it inside our I. Else we will push whatever is there in our P1 to our I. In this case, we will push whatever is present in our P1 to I. Yes, so 3 is present, so we will just push 3 to I, else we will just push whatever is present in P2 to whatever is present in P2. For example, if P2 is pointing to 5, we will push that inside our I. So that is what is basically it's happening over here. But if we want to do one thing, we are going to decrement our I each time because the process has to continue until the end. So we will decrement each time. Well, so let's just see if it works. So yes, it works. So each time we are going to decrement it and we are going to check whether they're same or not, or whether we need to push it. We need to push the second elements of the second array inside our first array, or we have to sort it. Basically, we are going to sort it according to the increasing order of elements. Thank you for watching.